Hello, this is Ethan with Powerhouse International, and before we get started, I'd just like to thank you for purchasing our pressure washer. Today I'm going to show you how to assemble the 2020 model of our Platinum Edition pressure washer. So to start, you're going to need something to open the box, and you'll check the seal on the top just to make sure it isn't broken. If it isn't, you're good to start unboxing. When you first open your box, you're going to be greeted by a stop sign which has our information on how to contact us. Make sure to read through this before you get started pressure washing. Next, you'll see our manual, which you should read through before you start. And there's also a package with all of the new O-rings and a sorting tool so that if any of them need replaced, it has all the information on the O-rings. Then we have the soap foam sprayer, a brush, our angled nozzle, the turbo nozzle. Next, you'll find 4 of the tips for the universal lance and a wrench for tightening the garden hose connector. Next in the box you can find our M22 14mm adapter. This adapts your high pressure hose on the pressure washer to other aftermarket nozzles and sprayers, such as this shorter one. Keep in mind that it doesn't actually connect to anything in the box, it's only used for aftermarket parts. Next, you can take out the cardboard that is used for transportation. Place that aside. Next, you can start unboxing all of your attachments for your pressure washer. This is a cord holder that will hold your cord once you wrap it around it and will also allow your plug to be plugged into the side for easy storage. And this is your lance and trigger gun holder, which will hold your lances and your trigger gun to the side of the washer for storage. Next, we will put together the spinning patio cleaner. This comes in 3 pieces, but you should also be aware of these screws and U-pin that should be taped here, but they could fall out into the bag, so you'll want to check for those. You can take the pins and remove them from the side of this plastic piece so that we can get into the baggie. Take the U-pins as well as the 2 screws. And what we'll do is we'll take the arm and set it inside the cover. You can push in with a little bit of force just to make sure it stays while installing this. And there are 2 holes right there where the screws will go in. You can screw these in with a screwdriver or with the drill that we have here. After you get the screws put into these 2 holes here, you can use the U-pin to attach this plastic piece to here by simply pushing it onto there. You can push down with some force to make sure it's in there properly. And then there are two slots on the side of the plastic that will hold the U-pin in place. Once you get them started, they could be a little hard to push through, so I recommend using a pair of pliers and just pushing on the side of it to get it through. You'll know it's in there properly because when you pull up, it won't let go. It won't come out. Next, we can get to the main course and completely pull the actual pressure washer from the box. First part to assembling it is adding the two side attachment holders to each side of the pressure washer by sliding it in. This one can go on this side because it'll be closer to the cord, so it'll be easier to store. You can install them simply by pushing down while on the slider. Next, we can put the casters onto the bottom of the pressure washer. They come in this little cardboard box. These can be installed just by putting the pressure washer on its side and pushing hard into these holes with the casters. Next, we can store all of the attachments here just by pushing down on the red button and releasing once they're on. Next, we can store the lances as well as the trigger gun on the side just by snapping them into place. And there are slots for all of your extra tips in the back. And finally, your spinning patio cleaner can be mounted right here on the back as well. Then your pressure washer has all the parts you need. Now that I've shown you where all of your accessories go, I'm going to show you how to assemble the trigger gun. You can start by unmounting the trigger gun from the side of your pressure washer, as well as whatever lance you wish to use. And you can take the cap off of the threads and thread it onto the trigger gun. This can be done by rotating this right here and holding holding both of the lances or the trigger gun and the lance in place. Once you have the trigger gun and lance assembled, you can attach nozzles to it, such as the soap bottle, by just lining up the notches and pushing down on the red button and releasing once you connected them, and give it a little tug just to make sure it won't fall off in use. Another thing about the soap bottle is it has a knob on top that increases and decreases the amount of soap that will come out of the bottle per water going through it. Also, keep in mind that this proprietary lance connects to all of the attachments that have the red button on them. And if you would like to use the other tips, then you can use the other lance that would connect to these 4 tips in the back. Also, the spinning patio cleaner connects to the proprietary lance that we've already put on the trigger gun. Now, I'm also going to show you how the M22 adapter connects to our high pressure hose. It's the same way that these buttons would work or this button would work for attaching the high pressure hose. And all you have to do is push down the red button, slot it onto the hose, and release the button. Give it a tug to make sure that it's set, and then you can use your aftermarket trigger gun. Now I'm going to show you how to use your pressure washer. When setting up your pressure washer, you can start by attaching your hose to the pressure washer. You can do this by taking your garden hose and rotating this red part counterclockwise while pushing into it with the garden hose. While you're here, you may also want to find your wrench and make sure that this back piece that's metal is tight so that it won't leak from the front. Next, we can plug in the pressure washer. You can remove the plastic piece that was put there for shipping and plug it into an outlet. We prefer that this outlet does not have a GFCI on it because we have a built-in GFCI unit in the plug, and we also encourage you not to use an extension cord, but if you must, try to make sure that it can draw enough current for the pressure washer. Next, after that, we will attach the trigger gun to the high pressure hose in the back. When doing this, it will be secured with a small twist tie that you'll have to take off before using. Then take the high pressure hose and push it into the trigger gun. Next, we can choose a nozzle that we'd like to use. I'm going to choose the turbo nozzle. Line up the 2 slots, push down on the red button, release the red button, and pull to make sure it's in place. Then after that, our next step is turning on the water. Make sure your water is fully on, that way the pressure washer has as much water as it needs to run. When you first start it, you will need to take all of the air out of the hose. But before we do that, we're going to make sure that we have closed-toed shoes on and eye protection. I have chosen some aviators. And then we're going to hold down the trigger to push all the air out of the hose as well as the pressure washer. This could take a while, so just be patient. Once you get a constant stream with minimal air, you can turn on the washer to use it. will turn off when it's pressurized, so in order to use it, you'll have to hold down depress the trigger gun. And then once it repressurizes, it will shut off once you let go. Thanks for watching, hope this helped.